Okay, it's day one. I'm in Toronto for the first time to cover the Toronto Film Festival. I've been wanting to attend this for years. And it's not until you get here that you realise how big it is. I mean, the streets are just full of so many people. There's this army of volunteers wearing these orange shirts around everywhere. I got in a lift earlier and saw a guy wearing a lanyard with the TIFF Festival on it, and he turns out he's some producer who's made a Robert De Niro movie in Australia. So there's just so many film people here. Got into Toronto today. There's so much I had to organise. My phone coverage for the week, because I want to be able to make sure I can tweet and Facebook about all the movies as I see them. And that took a lot longer than I thought, but the staff at the Apple Store were really helpful and I could organise some coverage after that. Then I had to get off to the Hyatt Regency to pick up my press badge. And that was fun. I mean, I couldn't believe how many people were coming in and out of the building. There were over 1,000 journalists covering the festival, which says it all. And there's heaps of stuff in the Hyatt Regency. I picked up a few free magazines to read, had a look around at all the foreign countries and their offerings. And some countries have a huge program at TIFF this year, and they're looking for all these different kinds of distribution. Then the next step was picking up the tickets that I'd bought beforehand, because there's two types of screening at TIFF. There's those that the public can buy tickets to, and then there's those that are for the press and the industry. So I'm traveling with some friends who can't get into the press screenings, so I'm trying to cover the festival from both angles. And the press and industry screenings, they're really easy. You get a special schedule and you just swipe your access card as you walk in. And I was at a press screening earlier today and saw Jeffrey Rush amongst others in the audience. And I think it's great to see some of the actors checking out some of the other films. But these screenings, they've got no talent, and there's often walkouts. So industry people just walking in and seeing what it's like for half an hour and then walking out. I mean, the public screenings are a lot different. You've got to buy tickets to those weeks in advance. These are the ones with the red carpets, the big name stars, the sold out crowds. The queue was really long at the box office there. I had to queue up for about 45 minutes to get to get to the front of the line, pick up my tickets, which I'd actually ordered a few weeks ago on a lottery. So because it's the first day here in Toronto, opening night film, U2 concert movie called From the Sky Down. So I wanted to have a look at this, how it all works. I wandered over to Roy Thompson Hall to see the stars, including U2 themselves, turn up. Crowds really big there, like heaps of reporters, cameramen on the red carpet, and there'll be a lot more of these red carpet premieres over the coming week. But look, to cut to the chase, I saw two films today. A small day, I think, by my standards to start the program. The first was Coriolanus, based on the Shakespearean play, which I'm not familiar with. It's got Ralph Fiennes, Gerard Butler, Brian Cox, Vanessa Redgrave. As I mentioned, I don't know the play, but I found it a really interesting storyline. It's full of greyness, and Ralph Fiennes, Vanessa Redgrave, terrific performances, but I just wasn't sold on the idea of using Shakespearean language in a modern day setting. And I know this has been done effectively before, like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, but the dialogue's hard to follow at times, and it detracts from the story's impact, and I'm giving that film a B. The second film I saw was tonight. Just got home from Gus Van Sant's Restless. I've long been a fan of Van Sant. I ranked him 5th in my list of favourite directors working today when I did updated that list last year. He's the guy that made Milk, Elephant, Last Days, Good Will Hunting. And I mean, I guess expected, I really enjoyed the film. It stars Ozzy Mia Wasikowska and Henry Hopper, who's the son of Dennis Hopper. And they're these two teenagers intrigued by death, and you find out why as the film develops. And it's typical Van Sant. He shies away from Hollywood formulas, tells a simple yet heartfelt story. He hasn't overcomplicated things with unnecessary side plots or characters. These two are always centre stage, and it's beautiful to watch their relationship develop. You can't always know where it's going, but as I indicated, the journey's the thing with this film, and I'll give it an A-. And I hung out on the red carpet for a while before the film, hoping to meet Van Sant and Wasikowska, but they were late arriving to the theatre, and we had to go in so as to secure a seat. Because if you're not in the entry line 15 minutes prior to the film, you run the risk of losing your seat, because they'll allocate them to people in the rush line. But not to worry, Van Sant, Wasikowska, producer Bryce Dallas Howard, the writer Jason Liu, they introduced the film and then hung around afterwards for a Q&A. And it was amazing to see them in person. As I said to my friend afterwards, you never get such an opportunity in Brisbane. But I'll say this though, I'm not convinced the audiences in Toronto are any more intelligent than those in Australia, because they were asking some pretty standard, pretty boring questions actually in the Q&A afterwards. But I had to chuckle. Someone asked Mia for a hug, and she said no. She said no actually. But look, that's it from day one. It's almost 1 a.m, so I better get to bed. I got 5 films on the menu for tomorrow, including David Cronenberg's A Dangerous Method. We've got Fernando Morales' 360. So be sure to check back tomorrow for my next update. So on that note, it's good night from Toronto.